What's up YouTube, it's HarderYG and today we're showing you guys some White Forest as a mini deck profile. Make sure to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and let's get into the deck profile. So starting off, we're gonna go with the main deck. Starting off, we have Duel Star Vengeance. So this is the new card from Alliance Insight. So this one treats itself as a simple spells card and can summon itself from hand to graveyard with a banishing spell and trap. And you can pay half life points to affect target one card your opponent controls destroyed. And if you control another Duel monster card, you can spell summon from your extra deck a Tuna Synchro monster, Illusion Spellcaster. Next card we have is Duel's the White Witch. So this one is treated as a White Forest card and summons itself by sending a spell and trap card from your hand or field to graveyard. And if you control 2 or more Duel monsters, your monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects. And it has an on-summon effect where it can Foolish Burial a Duel card. And next we got Duel's the Black Witch. So this one, just send a card from hand or field to graveyard, set a simple spell and trap, and during the opponent's turn, if this card is sent from the hand or field to graveyard, you can reborn it by sending a card from the hand or field to graveyard. Next we got the White Forest monsters, 3 copies of Sylvie of the White Forest. So this one's like a starter for the deck. It's like a Stratos where it's a spellcaster tuner and you can add a White Forest spell and trap from deck to hand. And you can reborn it, but it's effects negated, but you have to bounce like a White Forest Synchro monster from the field or graveyard back to the extra deck. And this is one of your 1-card starters. Next we got 3 LZ of the White Forest. So this one's like Duel's the White Witch, where you send a spell and trap card, one of them, from your hand or field to graveyard, and then you can add a White Forest monster from your deck to your hand, all in one effect. And it has a graveyard effect where you can return it to the hand during the opponent's turn if a Tuna Synchro monster is spell summoned. A light spellcaster Tuna spell summoned from the graveyard. So if you spell summon back like Sylvie of the White Forest, you can add this back to your hand. Next we got 1 Estelle of the White Forest. So this one, you basically send a spell and trap card from your hand or field to graveyard, then spell summon a light spellcaster tuner from your deck. Then if a spell and trap card is sent to graveyard attacks with monster effect, you can reborn it. And this is like your worst 1.5 card starter because you neg 1 if you get hit by any hand trap. Next we got the last White Forest main deck monster run. It was set as me in the White Forest. So this one's a level 2 light illusion, and you reveal this card and then you can spell summon White Forest as a mina construct from your hand. And during the main phase you can fusion summon by using monsters from your hand or field for as a mina fusion monster. And if you send to graveyard synchro material, you can add a simple spells card from your deck to your hand. So this one gives access into your Azamine engine. So that's it for the White Forest monsters. Now let's get into the hand traps. Around 3 copies of Ash Blossom. This is the only hand trap around in this deck because this deck has more synergy with spell and traps. And you need this to counter like the more charmies, and it's just generically good overall. So that's it for the main deck monsters. Now let's get into the spells. 3 copies of Witch of the White Forest, the field spell. is the new addition for the sport, and I'm glad they remade it because this deck suffered from not having enough names at started. So this one basically add a white forest monster from your deck behind, but you're locked from dark monsters for the rest of the turn, unfortunately. So if you use this first in your combo, you can't access your Azamina monsters from the extra deck. And you can target a white forest monster. You can try and trace a China this turn. And each time a monster you control is destroyed by battle to a white forest, it is not destroyed. Next we got 3 copies of Wanted Seeker of the Sinful Spoils. So this one allows you to add the ability to star monster from deck or graveyard to your hand. You can banish it from the graveyard, target one of the Sinful Spoils spell traps that's banished in the graveyard, put it back bottom, and then draw a card. So it's like Chaos Space, but better because you don't neg one. Next we got Tales of the White Forest. So this one's like the Rotor deck for any White Forest monster, but you have to control an illusion or spellcaster monster, unfortunately. And you can set itself if you send it via monster effect. Next we got Philia Diabel. So this one you can add a level 8 or higher Diabel monster from your deck to your hand, but if your opponent controls a monster you can spell summon instead. And if it's banished, your Diabel monsters gain 500 attack. Next card is the Hollowed Azamina. So this one you view Azamina Fusion monster from the extra deck, and for every level 4 that has rounded down, send 1 Sinful Spoils card, and you can add it back to your hand by shuffling one of your Azamina monsters from your graveyard to your deck or extra deck. Next we got Deception of the Sinful Spoils. So this one you tribute a monster, and then you can add 1 Azamina card from your deck to your hand. If a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard where you have a Azamina Fusion monster, you gain 15 and your opponent loses 15, so 1500 life points. So you gain 50 and your opponent loses 15. And you can set it itself if it's sent to graveyard face up. So you can set it to in the end phase. Next we got Sinful Spoils, the White Forest. So this one, if you control a Fiend Illusion spellcaster monster, you can activate one of these effects. Fusion Summon 1 Fiend Illusion spellcaster. Special summon 1 Fiend Illusion spellcaster from your hand. Fusion Summon from your extra deck using materials from your hand or field. And if it's sent to graveyard by monster effect, you can set it. So next, that's it for like the engine spells. Now let's get into the non-engine spells. We got 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. This one just has, it's like so it's like Forbidden Chalice, but you send, it's like Dark Ruler-ish, so you send different types and they lose half the attack and the effects negate until the end of the turn. So if you send like a monster, they can't respond monster effects, and if you send like all 3 types, they can't respond any of them. And I'm running this because I can send it to graveyard for the White Forest like LZ or Stella. Next we got 3 copies of Super Polymerization. So the droplet in the Super Poly is like for ball breaking. And it's OT from OTS 14. So you discard a card and Fusion Summon from either field from the extra deck. Next, we got 3 Foolish Burial Goods. So this one's basically a Foolish Burial for spelling traps. and you use it to foolish burial one of the traps that I'll show you later. And then for the one on terraforming, so this one just adds a field spell, and it's basically your 4th copy of Witch of the White Forest. Next we got triple tactics talent to counter the hand traps, so it's like Pot of Greed, Forceful Sentry, and Change of Heart. And then the last spell I run is Cobalt Grave to like target any of those hand traps or graveyard effects in the opponent's graveyard to negate. So that's it for the main deck spells. Now let's get into the traps. Infinite Permanence, of course. This is like another Forbidden Droplet, but better because you can use it in your opponent's turn as well if you go in second, and you can use it for going second as well, and then going first. Then we got 3 copies of the Blackout Laughs. So this one basically on the on-field effect is you declare a card name and your opponent cannot spare summon monster with declared card name except from the graveyard, and it has another effect in grave where you can banish it for cost and then declare card name, and your opponent can activate that card name on the field. So like it's basically like other imperms. So you got imperm, goat, and droplet, as well as soup poly. So you got like 12 ways to board break your opponent going second, and even if you open them going first, you can just set it and then use it. And then last 2 cards is Sinful Spores of Slumbermorian. So this one's like a Book of Moon for Space Sign monsters, and you can set it by if you control level 5 or higher illusion monster, but it gets banished when it leaves the field. So you can, and then lastly we got Curse of Diabel. So this one basically, so if you control 2 more Diabel monsters, you send one monster you control to the graveyard and destroy all face-up cards on the field the opponent controls. So and if you send the graveyard banished, you can add one Diabel spell and trap from your deck to your hand. So this is the one in Foolish Burial of goods, and you can add yourself the Vengeance. So that's it for the main deck, 42 cards. And you can also Foolish Burial like Morian off grid, and you can like set it if you want. So it was 45 cards for the main deck. Now let's get into the extra deck. We're running 1 copy of Diabel, Queen of the White Forest. So this one's the Illusion Synchro, and you use a tuner and non-tuner monsters. But if you use a tuner synchro monster, you can add 1 spin trap card from your graveyard to your hand, but you have to target it. And when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can send a spin trap card from your field or hand to your graveyard. Display one tuner synchro monster from your graveyard, banishment to extra deck. Next we got Silvera, Wolf Tamer of the White Forest. So this one's basically a Book of Eclipse, and your monsters use synchros gain 500 attack, and they cannot, and if they attack a defense position monster, it inflicts double piercing damage. Next we got Roselia, Sinful Spores of the White Forest, level 6 tuner synchro. So this one, if this is best summon, you can spend 1 spell trap card from your hand or field to graveyard, and then we'll add 1 White Forest card or 1 light spell caster monster from your deck to your hand, and your monsters your synchros gain 500 attack, and they cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Next we got Poplar of the White Forest. So this is level 4 light illusion synchro tune effect. So this card space summon, you can target 2 white forest monsters in your graveyard, place them face up in spell trap zones, and during main phase, your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect synchro summon using this card as material. So it's like a synchro IP Masquerena, and he used it on a material I'll show you from later on. We got Chaos Angel. So this one's just generic level 10. So you use like a dark or light as a tuner instead of a non-tuner, and then if it's both light and darks, it cannot be destroyed by battle, and your synchro monsters are unaffected by monster effects. Next we got Duration, the Chaos Thunder God. So this one's a level 11 Psychic Synchro, and each time a card effect activates, you gain 300. And then you can pay 1500 life points and trigger this card for cost, then destroy all face up monsters your opponent controls or spell and traps. Next we got Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon. So this is level 12, and during the main phase quick effect, you can target 1 face up monster on the field, or in either graveyard, place it face up in your own spell trap zone, and then in the battle phase, you can target 1 monster and 1 continuous spell and trap, destroy both. Next, that's it for the synchros. The one link I run is below that. So it's just generic link to just banish a card on the field or graveyard if you use the extra deck monsters material. And it also has another effect where you can target a card you control, a monster you control, a monster your opponent controls when they activate a card effect, and banish them both until the end phase. And then we go into the fusions. Got Azamina, Raw Regina. So this time requires an illusion or level 6 or higher fiend monster. So you can target 1 illusion monster in graveyard, space summon it, and then when your opponent when an Azamina or Sinful Spores card is activated, you can target 2 cards on the field up to, and then destroy them. So this is the card you summon off the Sinful Spores, the White Forest, because you're gonna end on Vengeance and White Witch in the end board, and you can use them to fuse into this. Next we got Snake Eyes Doom Dragon. So this one requires you can use Contact Fuse by sending 2 face up monster cards from spell and traps into the graveyard, and if it's summoned, you can target 1 monster on the field, place it face up in the spell and trap zone. So this is the one you summon off the Poplar of the White Forest in the end board. So you can, if you get that far with more extension, so you place the 2 like White Forest cards, then send them, summon this, and then you synchro him and the dragon into Vengeance Dragon, because 8 plus 4 is 12. Next we got Azamina cards. Lager. So this one's basically your opponent loses 500 attack defense for each Azamina monster you control, and when it's summoned, when it's space summoned, you can add a Azamina or Sinful Spores card from the deck to your hand, and if it's destroy a battle card effect, you can add 1 Sinful Spores spell from the deck to your hand. Next we got Azamina Ilia Sylvia. This is level 6 dark, and any bad damage from Azamina monsters except this card It inflicts double damage, and when your opponent activates a card effect, you can tribute this card and then negate that effect. And if it's destroyed by a battle card effect, you can add one simple sports trap from your deck to hand. Next we got Garura, Wings of Risen Light, level 6 Dark Wing Beast Fusion effect. So this one requires monsters with the same type of attribute but different names, and any damage inflicted to your opponent that's battle damage is doubled, and if you sent to the graveyard you can draw a card. This is one of the super poly targets, and the other super poly target I run is Mud Dragon of the Swamp. So this one requires 2 monsters with the same attribute but different types, and your opponent cannot target this card on monsters and fill the same attribute as this card. And quick effect, you can declare an attribute and once per turn, and then it becomes the attribute. So if you call it dark, it becomes dark, and then like all the rest of your dark monsters can't be targeted by card effects, so it can't imperm you and stuff. SP level 9 as well. Last card is Magister's Chorosa. So this one is like the card I finally acquired it. So I'm having a hard time looking for it. I couldn't find it anywhere at local, so I had to just order one online. So this is a level 4 spellcaster fusion tuner effect. So this one requires a fusion any extra deck monster plus 1 spellcaster monster, and you can summon it by sending materials instead of using like a polymerization card. And then if once it declares attack, you can negate the attack. This card gets equal to it, and then bounce the card that attacked. And you need this card for the Duel star combo to get into your engine. So that's it for the extra. Now let's get into the side deck. Running 3 copies of Artifact Lancia. So this one basically during the opponent's turn you tribute it, and then another player can banish cards, and if it's destroyed when it's set, you can reborn it. Next we have 3 copies of Sales Band. So I'm running this card instead of drawing Lockbird because basically this card has a restriction where it's like prohibition, where you declare a card and then it can't be activated. So if I call like drawing Lockbird, my opponent can't activate draw Lockbird that turn activate this effect, but I'm restricted from not being able to use it for the rest of the duel. So if I have my own draw Lockbird, I can't use it. So I'm just running this instead of draw Lockbird because I feel like it's better for this deck, as this deck searches a lot. And even if I don't need it, I can just send it for cost for the White Forest cards, and I can also use this going second as well to break a board. Because most decks in the format, like if you go in second and if you get drawn, it's pretty much game. But if you can like counter the draw in hand, you have a possibility of like breaking the board. Next we got 3 copies of Triple Tactics Frost. So this one basically, when a monster effect's activated, you can add 1 spell and trap card from deck to hand if they control a monster, but if they don't control a monster, you have to set it, and you can't activate that turn. Next we have 4 traps for evenly match. So this one basically at the end of the banner phase, the opponent banishes until face up, face down, equal to the number of cards you control. So you only have this card, they banish all their cards on the field until they only control 1 card. And this just helps for board breaking, and even if it's a dead card, you can send it with the White Forest cards. And then the last 3 cards running, of course, is DDG Artifact Sanctum and D-Barrier. D-Barrier basically like negates the effects of like extra deck monsters and link monster, except links, and also locks rituals, so they can't summon links. No, they can summon links, but they can't summon like rituals or other extra deck monsters, and the effects are negated. So for example, if you use it against like Mitsurugi Pure and you call like ritual, they can't summon any Mitsurugi rituals. And then this one basically activate to summon your Lancia from deck, and you can't contact your battle phase that turn, and if it's destroyed by card effect face down, you can target one card if you're destroyed. Last card is Different Dimension Gram. This one's basically like D-Shifter for monsters only, so it's like the opponent cannot so both players' monsters get banished instead of getting sent to graveyard basically. So that's it for the deck profile. I'll show you some special considerations. You can run 3 Effect Veiler and 3 Drawing Lockbird if you like. You can run Draw instead of the Sales Band. You can run like Effect Veiler if you want, because you can add it off Rusilia, because it's a spellcaster tuner light, so you can add it to your hand for more interruptions. And the rest of the hand traps, Nibiru and the Mochami package. Cause you want to have the nibs when you have the Mochami stuff, so if your opponent keeps trying to extend, you can punish them with Nibiru. But if you want to go for this route, it's better off if you don't run any of like the board breakers, spell and traps I have in the main deck, and you can just run more hand traps instead if you like. It's just that the problem is they don't have any synergy with the White Forest monsters. Next we got Instant Fusion to summon out Millennium's Ice Restrict. So this one you basically pay a K and then you summon a fusion summon monsters from the extra deck that's that get destroyed by battle during the end phase. So you can summon this one. So this one basically, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can equip it, and that monster cannot be cannot be activated, or its effects negated. So basically, like use this to counter draw Lockbird. So before you commit to any searches, you activate this, summon your restrict, and then when you're comboing off, your opponent tries to draw, you go okay, chain, negate. And you can also counter like generic hand traps. The only downside with this is the Mochami cards, because they can't because they can chain like 4 loss and then they just draw a card. And yeah, that's kind of like why I'm not running it, because everyone is mainly 4 loss now. Next we got Guardian Chimera. So you can run this. I was running this instead of more Regina for the longest time. So basically you fusion summon monsters with different names, and if you use cards from your hand, so you can draw cards, each material used from hand. If you use from field, you destroy up to a number of materials used from field. And if you have Polymerization OG in your graveyard, this card cannot be targeted by opponent's card effects. Last 2 cards are Saint Azamina and Azamina. You can run these 2 instead of the Super Poly targets, and then just take Super Poly out, maybe just play like a full like hand trap build if you like. It's personal preference. I just want to try something different for once. So this one basically, so your opponent cannot target monsters in hand, graveyard, banishment from either graveyard. And then if this card's fusion summon, you can spare summon one level 9 or lower Azamina monster from your extra deck. So you can summon your Ilya Sylvia, Murusulaga, or Mara Regina. And the way you get into this is you send like Vengeance to grave and like Wanted to summon her. And what you mean what Azamina is basically, it's like a kaiju where you tribute your Saint Azamina monster your opponent controls, and each time opponent activates a card effect, all monsters they control lose 500 attack, and monsters they control that 0 attack can activate the effects. So yeah, it's like a pretty good it's pretty good for like board breaking as well. And I really want to find space to run these two, because these two with the support sounds very deadly. So that's pretty much it for the deck profile. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And next video I will show you guys some 1 card combos, 1.5 card combos, 2 card combos, and then 2.5 card combos, and then lastly a test hand combo. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.